The most important bias in news reporting is editorial bias. There are just too many tentative facts and stories to report on. Choices have to be made about what stories are worth covering. The thing is, facts inform decisions. That's why we want to be informed, so we can make informed decisions. But that means that what things you get informed about make you more confident and likely to make decisions on questions that rely on that information. So implicitly then, when news editors choose what stories to cover, they're choosing how to influence your decisions. That's a big responsibility. How do they decide? Well, since they're private companies competing for profit, they tend to cover whatever you tell them to. Why do you visit one news outlet and not another? Because one gives you information about the choices you want to make more than the other. But what if two sources cover the same kinds of information? Well, then how do you decide which one to subscribe to? Well, surely you want the one with the more accurate and comprehensive information, correct? Okay, so how do you determine that? I mean, if you knew what information was relevant and accurate, you wouldn't need journalists, would you? Well, in fact, you can't tell which sources can really be trusted. There is no central, unbiased fact-checking outlet that you can rely on to tell you who's full of shit and who's not. That's why people end up trying to self-validate sources to the best of their ability, asking themselves if the information they're getting from a news outlet seems consistent with their prior knowledge and experience. But at the end of the day, you just have to trust whatever sources you consume on faith alone. You're relying on them as an authoritative source. And so you really can't choose between news sources based on their level of accuracy. So you have to fall back on some other criteria, which in practice ends up being whichever outlet supplies you with the most entertainment. Convenient to this criteria, the cloak of authority bestowed on news organizations gives you implicit permission to enjoy sensational stories and images of sex and violence with the morally inoculating pretext that you're just doing your civic duty to be an informed citizen. So this sucks, obviously. It's not good that people feel like they're being informed by, the fourth estate when really they're just being entertained. And the feeling of being informed produces unjustified confidence that leads to actions with unpredictable outcomes. The harsh truth is that people disagree about things because the world is a mysterious and complicated place we know very little about. When it comes to most questions, we don't know the answer, and so all competing viewpoints promoted in news outlets are just guesses. And I wouldn't even call them educated guesses or even random guesses. They're just stories designed to contrast with one another and entertain different audiences. So in situations where people should be very cautious and non-committal, you instead get hordes of self-righteous people zealously engaging in activism to promote policies that are probably worse on average than if they were just generated at random. Being misinformed by the news is in all likelihood worse for you and society than just being uninformed, and encouraging people to follow news and treat any outlet as anything like authoritative is a scheme ripe for exploitation. When you train people to rely on authoritative news sources, you implicitly create an aesthetic of authority, just like the white lab coat of the doctor is exploited in advertising to make things seem healthy. Any whack job can put scrolling headlines at the bottom of their video and put the word news in their company name and be taken seriously. Training people to rely on authority just makes it easier to spread propaganda and manufacture consent. And this is exactly what is accomplished by the misguided policies of social media companies, putting discrediting labels on certain newsy content. This isn't authoritative, but this other thing is. And that's what matters. Not thinking for yourself, not being cautious, just relying on the correct authority, the authoritative authority, as determined by this other authority. Okay. So we know the news industry has a lot of issues, but what's the alternative? I mean, we still need to make decisions. We still need to know things. What do we do? Hey, look, you can still consume news as fiction, as entertainment, but mostly you just need to fight the urge to reduce your monkey anxiety by pretending you know things that no human could possibly know. You don't need a position on everything. But look, there is actually such a thing as truth. You just can't find it directly. You have to settle for detecting what things are not true. So contradictions are not allowed, for example. So maybe you can never know for sure when I started recording this video, for example. Maybe it was April 1st, 2021, or April 2nd, or neither. But it can't have been both, not without playing semantic games with dates and time zones. I can't be in two places at once. I can't be in two times at once. That's true. That's a fact. So it's not hopeless, but it is hard, and it's certainly not a democracy. What's true has nothing to do with what most people agree is true, which is not an endorsement of fringe conspiracy theories, by the way. In my experience, you're better off just not taking positions. But if you have to, extrapolate from a small number of well-established facts rather than looking for articles or studies on a specific topic. I plan to do more videos on this topic in the future, but this is really important to get across. The news is entertainment. Never mistake it for information. Oh, and just as a fun extra here, this is a prop, right? I'm using the image of a newspaper to convey a sense that I'm a well-read individual, but that's really just a cloak of authority, This is newspaper packing paper, right? So it's unprinted newspaper that I just folded into the shape of a newspaper, and then I went to the NewYorkTimes.com, which conveniently has an archive of really old issues, and so I just found the front page of, where is this from? July 2nd, 1921. So this is the front page of that issue, and I just printed it out and pasted it on a stack, and here's the fake stack of newspaper. So you say I'm not a hypocrite. I'm just a manipulative asshole.